I can't believe I'm saying this, but after many years of use, I sold my Apollo Twin. So let's talk about it. If you've ever watched any of my content, chances are that YouTube has pushed one of these videos to show up in your feed. In fact, if you do a quick Google search and type Apollo Twin vocals, I will appear on the first page. Safe to say, I've been a Universal Audio customer and promoted their products for many years, but to my surprise, the Apollo has quickly become the most controversial product that I've ever reviewed in this channel. Some people, like myself, really like it, others absolutely hate it with a passion. Which begs the question, why did I sell it and would I still recommend it today? Well, it's complicated. If you're unfamiliar with the Apollo Twin, it's an expensive interface that can emulate the sound of vintage and analog gear for a fraction of their price. Just to give you an example, if you were to go out and buy the actual hardware for a 610B preamp, an LA2A compressor, a Pultec EQ, or a Marshall Plexi, that would cost you tens of thousands of dollars. But with an Apollo, you get access to all of those sounds from your computer for a fraction of the price. In addition, this interface is DSP powered, which means it can run all of the effects in real time with zero latency and without depending on your computer's processor. This is useful for a couple of reasons. Number one, you get to hear the effects as you record without having to change the buffer size in your recording software, which often can lead to a better performance from the artist. Number two, it can minimize or even eliminate post-production. And number three, it lets you work with larger track counts, more plugins, and virtual instruments in your DAW because all of the processing is being done from the interface itself. But Nolan, aren't these all great features? What changed? Well, about a decade ago, the only way you could get access to Universal Audio plugins was by purchasing an Apollo. But then, a couple of years ago, Universal Audio released their Spark subscription, which allowed anyone, regardless of their interface, to get access to a lot of their plugins for a monthly subscription of only $20. So as you can imagine, this pissed off a lot of people, especially those who spend over $1,000 on their Apollo. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't happy about it either, but I could still justify owning an Apollo for two main reasons. Number one, I'm not a fan of subscription services. To me, it doesn't make any financial sense to pay for something for life and still not own it. Think about it. If you pay $20 a month, that would be $240 a year. And let's say you have a 30-year career, that's gonna add up to more than 7 times the price of an Apollo. That is exactly why I decided to switch from Pro Tools to Logic Pro and never looked back. And number two, zero latency recording. Even though today you could run the plugins natively from your computer, it's not the same as using them from the interface itself because you're still gonna have to change the buffer size in your DAW, and depending on how many plugins and how old your computer is, it may cause you system issues. Fast forward to today, where I've been a content creator for over 3 years, gotten the chance to work with different brands and test a lot of different gear, and the conclusion that I've come to is that for what I do, which is running this YouTube channel, running my one-on-one coaching business, and making music, I really don't need anything more than a $200 or $300 interface. In fact, I would go as far as saying that if you're a solo creator like myself, chances are you don't either. Especially because nowadays there are much more affordable interfaces with built-in DSP, like the Fluid Connect series, which has an auto setup feature that gets you ready to record in less than 30 seconds every time, a built-in EQ so you can shape the sound of the recording, a compressor to help you achieve consistent audio levels, and an expander which helps to remove background noise in your recording space. So for the past 2 years, I found myself over and over again gravitating towards those interfaces over the Apollo simply because it helped me to save time. But you might be wondering, did my production quality suffer because I downgraded interfaces? Well, you be the judge. Here's a clip of my #1 most watched YouTube video, which was recorded with an Apollo Twin and a Neumann TLM-102. Step number 2 is to connect your microphone to one of the inputs on the Apollo, and if you're using a condenser mic, click on the 48-volt switch to power on your microphone. And this is how I sound recording through the Luit Connect 6 and the Shure SM70B, which combined are about half the price of the previous setup. Does it sound like I'm recording through an 1176 compressor or a Pultec EQ? No. But is my audience really gonna care? Probably not. And I don't know about you, but I've never listened to my favorite song or podcast and asked myself, which interface did they record that with? Chances are nobody cares, and what matters is the end result. Of course, I do need to highlight a couple of points from the previous clip. Back then, I was recording with the microphone about 5 feet away from me because I didn't want it to be in the camera shot. My room had no acoustic treatment whatsoever, and my performance was not very good because I was speaking at the speed of light. But in my mind, I was thinking, well, I have a Neumann microphone and an Apollo interface, so I should sound great, right? Wrong. Which goes to show you that if you master the fundamentals, like getting good mic placement, investing in acoustic treatment, and improving your performance, can yield a much better result than just spending money on expensive gear. Don't get me wrong, I still think the Apollo is a great interface, especially if you buy the Twin X Gen 2, because it has an auto gain feature, which will prevent your mic from clipping, and monitor calibration, which is really useful if you're a mixing or mastering engineer. Also, in my opinion, Universal Audio makes the best plugin emulations on the market today, but to be fair, you can get close to those results for a fraction of the cost. With all that being said, do I still recommend the Apollo today? Yes, but only if you don't like subscription services and wouldn't mind paying a premium to own the plugins, and most importantly, you really care about the sound of analog gear and being able to record with zero latency. Otherwise, save your money. But let me know in the comment section, what do you think of the Apollo? Do you love it? Do you hate it? And if you also want to watch my full review of the Luit interfaces, then make sure to click on this video.